to Randall. 5 seconds. DiVincenzo with the exclamation point. Murray the heave. Off the mark. Austin, I'll start with you. Minnesota didn't like the way that they played in game one. They battled back, coming out of a big hole in the opening quarter and found a way to get the win.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. They really came out from behind. They didn't really have an identity in this game. We were waiting for them to wake up, and it seemed like that light bulb just turned on, and they decided we're going to live in the paint. And from there, their offense started to flow. But guys put their head down, made the simple play, and when they saw two, got off of it. The things that Finchie talked about before the game, the highlighted points that he made for them to work on, they did. And you got to talk about the resolve they had and the defensive efforts made by their whole team, whether that's McDaniels down the stretch guarding Murray, who was worn out by the end of the game, and then obviously Rudy Gobert on Joker was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves aren't the flashiest story in the league right now. They don't have the rookie sensation or the miraculous turnaround narrative. What they have is scarier. A superstar in his prime who is still getting better. A supporting cast that is deeper and more dangerous than it gets credit for. A culture built on winning and refusing to accept anything less. And if you need proof of all that, look no further than what just happened in Denver. Game 1. The Nuggets came out swinging. Nikola Jokić posted a triple-double, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Jamal Murray went 16 for 16 from the free throw line and scored 30. Denver won 116-105, and the story was already being written. Minnesota was too banged up. Edwards was too rusty. Jokić was too good. Series over before it started. Then Game 2 happened. The Timberwolves fell behind by 19 points in the first half. 19 in Denver. Against the hottest team in basketball, the Nuggets had won 13 straight games entering the playoffs. The easy thing, the expected thing was to fold, to accept the deficit, protect the legs, live to fight another day in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards didn't fold. He went to work. He dragged his team back point by point.
Anthony Edwards getting to the paint, using his
possession by possession, finishing with 30 points and 10 rebounds, including a first half surge that turned a blowout into a battle. Rudy Gobert made Jokic's life miserable down the stretch, defending the 3-time MVP on key possessions when the game was on the line. And when the final buzzer sounded, Minnesota had stolen a road win, 119-114, erasing that 9-point hole and walking out of Ball Arena with the series tied 1-1. That comeback didn't happen by accident. That is what championship DNA looks like. Now, here's the reality of this series. Jokić is averaging 35 points, 15 rebounds, and 11 assists against Minnesota this season. That number is not a typo. The man is operating at a level that defies logic, and Denver on a healthy day might be the second best team in the entire NBA. This is not an easy series. Nobody in Minnesota should pretend otherwise. But here is what else is true. Edwards is playing 40 minutes a night on a knee that kept him out of 11 of the team's final 14 regular season games. He is grimacing on the court and still giving you 30 and 10. Gobert is disrupting the most unguardable player on the planet. McDaniels and Randall will shoot better than 0 for 7 from 3 the rest of this series. The Timberwolves have been to back-to-back conference finals. They have lived in these moments before. They know exactly what this pressure feels like. The prediction? Minnesota in 7. It won't be clean. It won't be easy. There will be moments where Jokić makes you question everything you believe in. But this Timberwolves team has earned the right to be believed in. They clawed back from 19 down in Denver with a hurt superstar and a city watching. That tells you everything. The Wolf is not coming. The Wolf is already here. And the rest of the Western Conference is starting to understand exactly what that means. Since the moment Julius Randle arrived in Minnesota, the Timberwolves stopped being Anthony Edwards' supporting cast and became something far more dangerous. A complete team, a balanced threat, A roster with no weakness you can exploit and no night you can take off against them. And if you're a 1 seed, a 2 seed, or a 3 seed, and you have to face this team in the playoffs, you're not comfortable, you're not confident, because the Timberwolves have something dangerous. They have a superstar who is playing the best basketball of his life, a defense that makes every possession feel like a war, and a roster that has quietly become one of the most complete in the Western Conference. Since January, Anthony Edwards has been on a stretch no one saw coming. 9 games with at least 40 points in a single season. 6 consecutive games with 30 or more, matching the franchise record. And this isn't a counting stats narrative. This is a guy who is making the right play, defending with intent, and leading with a maturity that goes way beyond his 24 years. But to understand why this moment matters, you need to understand how long Minnesota waited for it. The Timberwolves went 13 years without making the playoffs. 13. Between 2004 and 2022, they were a franchise defined by almost talented enough, almost competitive enough, almost healthy enough. They had Kevin Garnett, then they traded him away.
Will we give any help here defensively? Nope. Kevin Garnett.
They had Andrew Wiggins, then moved on. They drafted Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the most skilled big men in a generation, and still couldn't figure out how to build around him. Then came the trade that changed everything. In 2022, Minnesota acquired Rudy Gobert in a deal that shocked the league. 4 first-round picks, multiple players, the price was absurd. The criticism was immediate and brutal. People called it the worst trade in NBA history before the season even started. Minnesota was a punchline again. And for a year, the skeptics had a point. The pieces didn't fit. The culture wasn't right. Gobert and Towns couldn't coexist. The locker room was fragmented. Another early exit. Another summer of questions. Then the front office made the move that nobody expected. They traded Karl-Anthony Towns to New York for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. It was bold, it was controversial, it was exactly right. Because what Minnesota needed wasn't more scoring. They had Anthony Edwards for that. What they needed was toughness, grit, a power forward who could bang in the post, rebound, facilitate, defend, and take the pressure off their star without needing the spotlight himself. Julius Randle gave them all of that and more. This season,
Julius cleared. Josh Okogie tried to flop on it. Julius just let him have it right between the eyes.
Randle has been everything Minnesota hoped for when they made that trade. 21.1 points per game, 6.7 rebounds. A player who averaged 24 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 6 assists against Denver in the regular season alone. He has multiple triple-doubles this year. Multiple double-doubles. He's been the steady force in the middle of everything Minnesota does. And when Edwards has been limited, Randle hasn't flinched. He's stepped up every single time. But the real X factor on this team, the player who doesn't get enough credit nationally, Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels is what every contender dreams of. 14.8 points per game. And those numbers don't tell half the story. He's a 6'9" wing with a 7-foot wingspan who can guard positions 1 through 4 at an elite level. He's held Devin Booker to a season-low 16 points. He's recorded multiple steals and blocks in 6 of his last 10 games. Opponents shoot worse when he's the primary defender. And offensively, he's posting career bests in every meaningful category, reaching 20 points 9 times this season, including a 26-point outburst in a win over Cleveland where 4 Timberwolves starters scored 20 or more. This isn't just a good role player. This is a two-way weapon that the rest of the West has not figured out. And then there's the engine. The reason everyone in the country now knows who the Timberwolves are? Anthony Edwards finished this regular season averaging 28.8 points, 4.9 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 3.4 threes, and 1.4 steals per game over 61 appearances. He's made the All-Star team 3 straight years, He was named to All-NBA. He's had 9 40-point games this season, a franchise record. He posted back-to-back 40-point performances in March. He had 44 points against New Orleans, scoring 34 of them after halftime, including a game-tying layup with 2 seconds left to force overtime. This isn't a player satisfied with being good. This is a player who wants to be great, who demands greatness from everyone around him. That hunger sets the tone for the whole locker room. Supporting him is Rudy Gobert, who this season is converting shots at a 73.3% clip, leading the team with 11.5 rebounds per game, and anchoring a defense that's been elite all year. Ayo Dosunmu has stepped into a starting role and averaged 14.4 points. Naz Reid off the bench is giving them 13.6 per night. Dante DiVincenzo is a knockdown shooter and one of the best defenders in the league at his position. This is not a one-man team, it is a system, a complete, dangerous, well-constructed machine. And the man behind the system deserves credit too. Head coach Chris Finch has built something real in Minnesota. 5 straight playoff appearances, a culture where the stars hold each other accountable. A defense ranked among the best in the West all season. This is not an accident. This is construction. Nobody is writing Minnesota off, because nobody who has watched this team all season believes this is a team that goes quietly. They've been to the conference finals 2 years in a row. They know what pressure feels like. They've been in the fire before.